about to begin a beautiful tractate called Kiddushin, a tractate dealing with the law of marriages, the law of building binyan ad, a beautiful Jewish home, all the halakha, the Jewish law and the nuances involved with this, but also indirectly we learn the law of yichud and other manners relate to the happy marriage life. The great Maimonides, the Rambam, asks a question: how come we do not start the other way around? We should start first with Tractate Kiddushin, and then if the marriage did not work out, then you go to Gittin. His simple explanation is obviously the Torah have it in that order. There are other explanations that the Tractate Kiddushin follow Tractate Ketubot in some places, or after Nazir. The Meiri said that is the first tractate in the Seder Nashim. There's a few explanations. But in general, Tractate Kiddushin is the idea of proper, halachically correct Jewish wedding, Jewish marriage, Jewish building a Jewish home properly. Meaning the wife, she is attached to her husband, and she became, which we call in halakha, eshet ish, a married woman, by any matter. In general, you need to have something in order to make it effective. It was a great rabbi by the name of Rogochov. He explained it beautifully. He said, like it or not, but there are two entities. One is the connection between the two, Adam and Eve, husband and wife. But there's another component, which is ma'ase kinyan, almost like, sorry, but it's like business transactions, which means you have two parties and you have a matter of acquisition, give and take, partnership. In that sense, we need to understand how exactly the matter of acquisition or the matter of partnership takes place. In order for us to fully comprehend, we need to know that something substantial needs to take place in order to make this unit as one. Meaning, she, that entity, for our legal understanding, was a free woman, was a single woman. Now her domain changed. She basically a married woman. Meaning the moment she, by Jewish law, married woman, any intercourse or any relation with someone else out of the marriage is a violation of biblical law. What exactly needs to take place in order to change her status from being a single by any means to a married woman? Especially if we talk about virgin, we talk about someone who divorced, you talk about someone who's widow, or someone who's a widow as a result of losing husband without children. It's a many different status that change her status from a single to be married woman, etc. So in order to comprehend the depth of that, for men, biblically speaking, in Leviticus 19, the Torah said men that have relation with married women by biblical law deserve death, which is, we take it very seriously in the Jewish faith. Now, the question is, how and what caused to change the status? So the first part is called Kiddushin, meaning a manner of acquisition between husband and wife. Obviously, it needs to be something more than we love each other. So the first part is kinyan mammon, has to be silver, money, something that you give above the pruta, above the minimum amount. So let's say if the minimum amount of coin, I'm just throwing a number, let's say it's $50. So you have to give above that, for our understanding, right? Something substantial, $100, to make this manner of acquisition more than just, so you give a ring, the ring has to be in a value that she fully understands that this is a $100 ring that I'm giving to you as a husband in order for you to accept that as a matter of acquisition and become my wife. other option is called shtar, meaning to write a document signed by the husband and two witnesses that commit himself to three important biblical items, which is taking care of her needs in a sense of sustenance, clothing, and marital relation. All of that is part of the changed status, and in the Talmudic time it also cohabitation, a manner of changing her status from being a virgin to being someone who is no longer again, change and make her as a married woman. We will talk further on that. Now, Talmudic time, it was two different ceremonies. One is called betrothed, eirusin, and the other is called נישואין, meaning a matter of total marriage. The Rambam explained to us in Ilchot Ishut, before the time of giving the Torah, a man can see a woman outside in the public domain. If he wish to, he can marry her, bring her to his home, have cohabitation, and she is his wife. However, the moment Moshe Rabbeinu Moses transmitted to us the holy blueprint of life, the Torah, he transmitted to us the commandment, 613 commandments. One of them, or several of them, is if a man desire to marry a woman, he needs to have a process which is acquisitions at the front of two kosher witnesses, and by a biblical term is taking effect, which is the three items: kesef, shtar, meaning documentation, or bi'ah, cohabitation. So that's basically called קידושין or eirusin, manner of betrothed, any place, and therefore the moment that she acquiesce or she cooperate, she basically betrothed to that man. So even they do not have a manner of cohabitation yet, and she will not yet under the same roof with the husband, the Rambam said she is considering at that time, Talmudic time, already as a married woman. So anyone who have cohabitation with her is in a violation the same as a regular married woman. Furthermore, if the husband wishes to divorce her, he needs to give her a bill of divorce, a get. So that's number one, eirusin. Nowadays we combined it. And then we have the kiddushin, the matter of full marriage. And for sure we're going to speak later about the minor marriages, how the father's right, the servants, the Hebrew servant, the maid servants, and more. So since we talk here about Kiddushin, a matter of marriage, first and foremost, I want to give a very deep, sincere bracha, blessings, not only to those who are here, but those who watch us, that may the study of the Torah and study of the law of Kiddushin brings all those who needs to have a proper shidduch, to have a proper soulmate. We say that kriyat yam suf, for some people it's very difficult to get the proper soulmate. That may Hashem help each and every one to find the bashet, the person that really is the soulmate from heaven, to have a wonderful life and binyana de'ad, a building of eternal life together with peace, harmony, and success. The same way as we said blessing under the chuppah, we said Mekadesh Amo Yisrael al yedei chuppah vekiddushin, that the Almighty in a way sanctify us, marriage us. So when we speak about Tractate Kiddushin, is not only blessing to potential soon to be groom and bride in a Jewish home, but also us as a nation. That God, Yaakov Hevel Nachalato, God never divorced us. And therefore, since we are part of God's creation and we are part of the future of our people and the world, both in Gashmiyut and Ruchaniyut, both in the physical and spiritual manner, Mekadesh Amo Yisrael, may God bring us back to be together, we and the Almighty, al yedei chuppah vekiddushin, meaning by study this tractate and by study Torah, may Hashem reinstitute in the deepest level his love to us and keep watching over us and help us distribute the Torah in love of people, love of Torah, and make this marriage between our nation and God as one unit. We're about to start, Mitzvah Hashem, this tractate, page 2, Tractate Kiddushin. האישה נקנית בשלוש דרכים. Again, we use the term acquisition. Women watching us, please do not understand it in the wrong way. It's the idea that when it's come to relationship between husband and wife, the Torah used the term ki yikach, the man acquire. So therefore the Mishnah followed that mindset and said that a woman is become betrothed, it's acquired by one of the three is using a female to a husband. Here we talk about Kiddushin, the first stage, as we explained earlier. Vekona et hatzma, she terminates her marriage, meaning she acquires herself in order for her to marry someone else, bishtei drachim, in two ways. So understand, the moment she commits herself to a marriage, she is in that domain of the husband. She cannot move out of that domain by the framework of Jewish law. So now we start with the first stage. Niknet bekesef, bishtar ubebi'ah. So the first stage, she can acquire through money. What is that money? So the Khatam Sofer said, let's face it, nowadays, United States government prints a dollar bill that that's one of the things that they print. So you tell me that's not the ancient silver that has a real currency values. But the Khatam Sofer said that since people, merchant, have a change of currencies, so therefore we consider that as a valuable, even the government just printing papers. I remember once I went to Ukraine. The chief rabbi, Rabbi Blech, invited me once for the special ceremony. It was a ceremony took place at that time. So I remember they printed the local currency, and $100 was like, you need to have a baggage to carry the $100 in the local currencies. The same, I remember in the Far East, in Thailand and other places, you have one in Africa, you see a huge baggage of papers. So the idea is, as Khatam Sofer said, as long as you have a currency in exchange, it has value, even the government just printing it. Anyway, the second one is the document, shtar. And the third one, as we explained earlier, relations. So money, he give her either valuable or cash. Shtar, he give her a document that said, you are betrothed to me. And he needs to do it at the front of two witnesses, the Rambam said. And the third one is to say that you betrothed me toward that act of cohabitation that take place later, and that's basically part of the making the marriage legal. Beit Shammai אומרים בדינר ובשווה דינר. Beit Shammai said that she can be acquired with 1 dinar or something that's worth of dinar. That's the local currency. Tosfot explained that is a 1/25 of golden dinar. And ובית הלל אומרים בפרוטה ובשווה פרוטה. Beit Hillel said even less, that much less than dinar. The Smak said that that is a copper point. Anytime you see me officiating wedding, you see me, people think it's a joke, but it's much serious than the joke. I take the two witnesses, I ask the chassan, the groom, to show the ring. And I ask the witnesses, do you think that's how much you think it's worth? And people laugh, but the idea is it has to be value, it has to worth a value. That's the minhag. There is a minhag that the husband, in the presence of two witnesses, I follow Rav Sternbuch, the great rabbi of South Africa. He brought a book ancient book called Orchot Chaim, and he said that if the wife thinks that this ring worth $100, and the man get a bargain, the husband, and get it for $50. In a mall, he get it for $50. And she thinks it's 100, is as a issue of halot Kiddushin. If this really married legitimate marriage. The same apply here. You bring the ketubah, you bring in this document with the front of the two witnesses. So the Khatam Sofer said it's enough for the bride that she walked into the chuppah and she agreed to betroth. But But Rabbi Akiva said that in order to have it lishma for that sake and have the full sincerity and understanding, so you have to have the value and you have to have the understanding of the value in each party. That's the core part of a healthy marriage. So anyway, v'chama pruta. Tosfot challenged that, what exactly pruta means. But in general, they said, Ichad mishmona ba'isar ha'Italki. 1/8 of the Italian isar, which is, again, isar is a valuable, which is a small silver coin. That's the minimum. The Chazon Ish said that it's approximately 140 gram of se'ora, right? But again, the idea is that carries the values. Second part of the Mishnah, vekona et hatzma, and she acquires herself to be independent and to go ahead and marry someone else, beget, in the bill of divorce, ubemitata baal, or if the husband is no longer among the living. Another manner of acquisition, haivama, woman that lost her husband with no children, so now she's waiting for the surviving brother of the deceased husband to either marry her or release her. Bebi'ah, which is the Deuteronomy 25, that they have cohabitation between the surviving brother and her. Vekona et atzma b'chalitza, meaning if the act of release with the shoes and everything, ubemitat yavam, or the death of the surviving brother of the late husband, then if you refuse, or if you refuse to do chalitza, etc., so now she basically she's stuck until he passed. The moment he passed, if there's no other brothers to marry her, then she's free to go ahead and marry. So now the text in the Gemara, most of the rabbis say that he is Rabbanan Savorai, he's not Meseder Talmud, he's not Rav Asher and Ravina. Anyway, the Mishnah said that Isha niknet, the woman can be acquired in these three ways. So the Gemara asks, Ma'ishna hacha detane ha'isha niknet, u'ma'ishna hatam diktane ha'ish mekadesh. Why we use in one sentence the woman acquired, and over there the first Mishnah in the upcoming second chapter, page 41, they use the term of betrothed. So we should use the word Aisha mitkadeshet, the wife, the woman betrothed. So the Pnei Yoshua elaborates, and he said, let's face it, there are two components. One is the marriage itself between the two entities, Kiddushin im Isha, betrothed man and woman. But he said, there's another part that is called Ma'ase Kinyan, which means a matter of acquisitions between the two parties. Because the Rogachover explained to us, it was a great ingenious rabbi from Rogachov, the name of a city. So the Rogachover explains, trace a situation of secular couple. They marry in the court, right? So they have a secular, monetary, whatever you call it, agreement between the two parties. So you have a schema money, you have a matter of monetary acquisition between two parties. So that's basically a state between the two parties. So since the secular court considering as a partnership, therefore it may be kinyan kiddushin. Maybe we by halakha consider that as a matter of betroth between two parties if both of them are single by halakha. That's a big response of the Rogachover based on that. But anyway, the Gemara respond and they said the reason we use the term Aisha niknet mishum dekaba'e lemitnei kesef, because the Mishnah wants to emphasize that one of the way to make this matter work by the legal, by the halakha, Jewish law, is that they have the betrothed through money, which is the standards mean of you have exchanging of act of acquisitions between two parties. So the Gemara said, "V'chesef menalan." So how do you know that you have to accompany the acquisition with cash, with money, with so they said, "Gamar kicha kicha misde Ephron." The Torah used the word acquisition in the book of Bereshit, in the book of Genesis, when Abraham lost his wife Sarah, and he acquired the cave of Machpelah from Ephron, which was a wicked Hittite, wicked, one of the 7 nations was there. So originally he offered him for free, and then it was a big negotiation. He ended up by overpaying Abraham. But we learn in a verbal analogy, in juxtaposition of using the word kicha 2 times. Ktiv hacha, the Torah used in Deuteronomy 24, ki yikach, yud kuf chet, yikach meaning acquisition, ki yikach ish isha, when a husband, for our term, no offense, just to understand, acquires wife, uchtivatam, in Genesis 23, natati kesef hasadeh, Abraham said to Ephron, I gave the monetary volume over the estate of Machpelah, of the graveside to bury my wife and the other pairs that are going to be buried, as new estate that I acquired for these 400 kesef, kach mimeni, kach, meaning you have here lekicha, you have here taken transaction between 2 parties. So since they use the word kicha, kuf yud chet hey, kach, between the 2, so we learn that both of them apply to money. The Rambam asked a question, and he said, Kiddushay Isha, betrothal of woman, midivrei sofrim, it's that biblical or rabbinic based on that. But anyway, let's continue because we have a Tosfot here. We don't have much time for this. So anyway, Vekicha ikre kinyan, and the taking of Ephron's field is called acquisition in the Torah. Dichtiv, because at the end of that conversation in Bereshit, in Genesis 25, they said, Hasadeh, the field, Asher kana Avraham, that Abraham, our forefather, acquired. So you see here that you have a total manner of acquisition between parties that Abraham acquires, not inherited, but acquire, which he insisted to do. Page 2b, Iname. Now we need to use another source in the Tanakh that dealing with this manner of acquisitions, and you see the same language of which is kinyan yikanu. The prophet Jeremiah in chapter 32, he said, Sadot bakesef yiknu, they shall acquire fields with money. So what we want to teach us, that women can be betrothed with money. Tani ha'isha niknet, and you don't use the word mitkadeshet, acquired, acquisition. So if that's the case, why don't go around and use the same manner of acquisition? V'nitne atama ish koneh, also in a man. Meikara tane lishna deoraita, ulvasof tane lishna derabanan. Originally speaking, when the Mishnah began the discussion using a biblical terms, and because the Torah used the word ki yikach, the manner of acquisition, that's the language of acquisition that the Mishnah used. Then, when they speak about the 2nd chapter, there it's already matter of acquisition in a sense, sage's language. So because the Torah did not use the word kiddushin, so therefore use the rabbinic language. Umay lishna de Rabbanan, the asar la akulei alma kehegdesh, because it's also via negativa, meaning the moment she agreed and she married him, he renders her forbidden to everyone, like in that sense a consecrated property. You consecrated your car to give it to yeshiva, to give it to a synagogue, is no longer you because you consecrated that. In that sense, she is a consecrated property to him, and therefore is total commitment between the 2 parties. So why we don't say in our Mishnah that a man is he acquires? Mishum dekabay lemitnasefa vekona et atzma bedida. Because the 2nd clause said that she can have 2 ways to be free, acquire herself, tanena meresha bedida. So use the same language. Veditne ha'ish kone umakne. So why we don't say that the man can acquire a woman and transfer authority, grant her the release for marriage from get, mishum deika mitata baal, because one of the way is the passing of the husband. The love ihu kamakne. It's not the husband. The death by Judaism is not by, God forbid, committing suicide. The initiation of death is only the Almighty. So min shmaya u demaknela, meaning God, heaven, give her the freedom to transfer to her. So it means the Mishnah could not issue a general statement that the man can actively transfer to the woman her release for marriage. That's part of what, in a way, God created by, for example, his death. If you use that term of acquisition, you may say that against her will. Remember the story of Rebecca? They're asking her consent. In Judaism, you don't force marriage. You ask her, and the Rashi in Tractate Kiddushin, page 19b, explain the text said, "V'yatz'a ve'ayta leish acher," and she, Deuteronomy 24, became a wife of someone. So it means that she have to have the total consent, understanding and consent, in order to be married to someone. Unlike divorce is a different story. There is a book called Birkat Shmuel that elaborates. Shelo midata, without her consent in Judaism, it's not going to work. It's not working. The big sources in the Torah, they said, with all negotiation between Lavan, Betuel, and Eliezer, Nikra la na'ara v'nishara et pia. Bring the young girl, Rebecca, and ask her if she is willing to. Why use a female term? So, because the Torah Tosfot said is always use a male. So they said, משום דקבאי למתנה דרך, ודרך לשון נקבה הוא דכתיב הודעת להם את הדרך אשר ילכו בה. So basically they use a female because that's they speak about path. ואלה עדתניה בשבעה דרכים בודקים את הזב. The Mishnah said in Tractate זבים, that if someone have a semen discharge, so they use the 7 ways, 7 paths, so נתני 7, משום דקבא מתנה דרך, והשכחן דרך דהתקרא בלשון זכר, דכתיב בדרך כלל יצאו אליך ובשבעה דרכים יצאו מפניך. So יחי קשו קרא ידדה וקשנה מדנית נדה, you see contradiction, male or female, קרא ידדה לא קשן, הכה דבתורה קאי, ותורה יקרא לשון נקבה, דכתיב תורת השם תמימה משיבת נפש. The Torah is using a female in the Psalm 19. כתב לה בלשון נקבה, חתם בדמלחמה קאי, they talk about war is a male. דרכו של עיר לעשות מלחמה ודרכה של אישה לעשות מלחמה. The manner of man is to actively go to act of war, and is not the way of women to wage war. It is inappropriate to speak in the masculine way. כתב לה בלשון זכר. So therefore you write a path in that masculine way. מתאים דעדה לא קשן, משניות is not contradicted. האחד לגבי אישה קאי קטן לה בלשון נקבה, התם לגבי איש קאי דרכו שאיש להיבדק. ודרכה שהיא להיבדק, האישה נמה באונס מטמאה, תן לשון זכר. So basically you check at the man if it's a discharge of semen versus woman. So מה איתם לתנא 3? משום דרכים, נתנה דברים, ונתנה 3, משום דקבל מים מתנה ביאה. One of the things is the cohabitation. וביאה יקרי דרך דכתיב, ודרך גבר בעל מה, כדרך אישה מנאפת. They said in the Proverbs 30. So again, so that's the language he used. התינך ביאה, כסף ושטר מעיקה למימר. So it said משום ביאה, because of that manner. ותנא תרתי חד את וחדה, אנם לצורך ביאה ענינו. It's also indirectly צורך ביאה. It's a sake of ביאה, because that's the eventual. ויבאי תימה המני, רבי שמעון, תנא רבי שמעון אומר, מפני מה אמרה התורה כי ייקח איש אישה. Why did Torah use the term of men acquire wife? Because obviously, ולא כתב כי תילקח אישה לאיש, מפני שדרכו של איש לחזר על אישה, ודרכה של אישה לחזר על איש. The manner of which, some people say that was the old fashion, but men pursue women not the opposite way. משל האדם שעבדה לא עבדה. For example, someone lost an article. מי חוזר על מי? בעל עבדה מחזר על עבדתו. A person who lost an article go and search for his articles. So since she is part of him, he is in a sense to have her with him. But they say that we examine a zav in 7 ways. Over there we derive from the meaning that when you have excessive eating, it causes a person to be a zav. Excessive drinking also. So the Mishnah used this term of 7 ways. They want to tell us in a very clear way that there are ways of behavior that can cause this type of discharge, this emission to a zav.